Hey guys, Automobile V here, and I wanted to talk quickly about something that I read in the 8.2 patch notes. Now, there are a lot of champion changes and big deal, big change with the support items, which I could go over in a separate video. But what I specifically wanted to talk about was this the targeted spells change. And it looks like a very small change, but basically what it says is targeted damaging spells now draw minion aggro. And Riot mentions in the little blurb, they mentioned Pantheon and Cassiopeia being sort of uh, bullies in the lane that can easily just spam out their abilities on you and harass you without taking minion aggro. And so now, with the change, point and click abilities like Pantheon's Q, like Cassio's E, like Annie Q, Cassidon, they will now draw minion aggro as if they auto attacked you. And they have a list of affected abilities. Most of these are not, they don't matter at all, right? Ultimates are not gonna they're not gonna make a big difference. I'm curious though on the abilities that will sort of that are impacted in sort of the lane phase. So including stuff like Pantheon, like Cassiopeia. And so what I did is I made a sort of short list of champions that I think are going to be affected most during the early game in the lane phase. And so I made a point that ranged champions might suffer more from this because just by the from the nature that they're typically more squishy. Melee champions can usually just kind of tank a lot more creep damage than ranged. They're sort of more bulky, and so it doesn't usually affect them. Melee champions also are usually auto attacking with their abilities, and so they're used to taking minion aggro. And I also made a note that top laners can still use the brushes to sort of lose minion aggro. So what I mean by this is you can run out of a bush or be near a bush, use your Pantheon Q, take minion aggro, then run back into the bush and drop it, as long as it's not warded, of course. And so my short list on sort of melee top laners, Gangplank. I'm not actually sure if his parlay takes aggro already, so this one's kind of a toss up for me. Irelia E, sometimes you use not to engage, but maybe to disengage. Now you're going to have to worry about that extra minion damage. It's kind of a pain. Jax Leap Strike, maybe you just want the harass, not to tank the minions. Probably an edge case, not going to be too impactful. And now, Malphite, Pantheon, and Akali. Akali is a weird one because she's kind of mid or top, but I put these three together because these are the sort of champions that may be oppressive in lane and try to abuse you with their skills. So they sort of spam them out on cooldown. And now, this is just a little drawing. If I draw the top lane, and let's say the creeps are equalized, here's a tower, right? And sometimes Pantheons, or maybe even Malphites if you're chunked, depending on the matchup, they can stand in front of the creeps. Or let's say this is the red team. So Malphite can stand here and zone away the enemy. Say here. Now, however, if Malphite is if the enemy walks up and Malphite Qs, the creeps will then start targeting him, and he'll have to retreat back, and he'll actually take a lot of damage. He'll be in the middle of the creep wave. Or, like I said earlier, you'll have to duck into one of the three brushes to lose creep aggro. So that's, I think, going to be that's going to affect these three champions. Now, Cassidon and Katarina are more the mid laners, and for the mid lane, I think because there are no bushes, it might actually have a bigger effect. Typically, when you're Cassidon or you're Katarina, you're going to be ducking in and out of the creep wave, and you might Q your enemy while you're standing in the middle of the creeps. This will cause them to start attacking you, and you might take a considerable amount of damage. Then I have Cassio, Annie, LeBlanc, Victor, Vlad. And these are all champions that, similar to these champions, similar to these, they might look to sort of zone you out from the wave using their point and click abilities. Namely Victor's Q, Vlad's Q, now, or Cassio E, obviously. And now when they do, they're going to take minion aggro. And then last but not least, I have Karma in bold on her own. Now this is talking more about Karma mid, Karma top, but depending on how it works with her W, because it's a point and click, if it constantly takes minion aggro, I can see this as being a big problem for Karma, because Karma's sort of typical combo is you W someone, wait for the root, and then empowered Q them as they're rooted. So they take both ticks of the damage. Now, if your W draws minion aggro and minions start kind of clumping around you, it can actually make it really hard for you to land your empowered Q. Similar to how Morgana, if you're ulted by Morgana, you want to kind of duck into a minion wave because the creeps could actually block the Morgana bind for you. So creeps can actually block Karma Q really easily. And so if you have creeps crowding around you because you're Wing someone, it could be a big deal. Anyways, this is a lot of speculation on my part. I just wanted to make this video because while it looks like a small change, I think it could have a big impact on these champions. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Maybe I missed some champions. But thanks for watching. See ya.